If you've been in sales for any period of time, then no doubt you've experienced a sales slump. But if you're a sales leader, how do you get your team, multiple different people, out of a sales slump? Hi, I'm Shawn Casemore, and I help you learn how to be a high-performing, top-performing sales professional so that you can earn more in less time and put more money in your hands faster. If that sounds good to you, make sure you click the subscribe button so you can get notified each and every time I release a new video. And, of course, click the like button if this video is content that you appreciate, and I'll make more of these videos. All right, so as a sales leader, let's say your team, they're in a slump. Maybe the economy's slowed down. Maybe your supply of product that you're trying to sell has slowed down. Maybe it's holiday season and people are just down because it's hard to reach anybody. Whatever the case is, as a leader, you need to have ways in which you can help pull your team out of a slump. There are 4 different steps you can take to help your team overcome a slump as a sales leader. Jump into number 1. This first tip might seem obvious, but here's what tends to happen. If your team is in a sales slump, then you as a leader are in a sales slump, right? Because your team's not doing well, that reflects on you, and everybody's energy tends to come down, right? We tend to slow down. We're not as enthusiastic. The team is down, and that gets us down. And so what we want to do is be very conscious and focus on building energy within the team. That starts with us. So as a sales leader, even though things might be slow, keep your enthusiasm, your energy up, right? No matter what. I'm not saying go over the top and be like, guys, this is awesome, right? But what I do want you to do is don't get down in the dumps. Don't get bummed out because of the situation. And definitely don't talk about how bad things are. Talk about the opportunities. You know, when the COVID hit, the pandemic, the vid, whatever you want to call it, when it happened and hit, the top performing sales leaders that I know actually were talking to their team saying, this is awesome. I mean, notwithstanding the potential health risks, and that's a concern, but this is awesome because our competitors are stuck right now. They don't know what to do. We've got an opportunity to grab market share. Let's start calling everybody we know and everybody we've ever heard of to try and set up virtual meetings and get rolling. You see, it's that energy and enthusiasm that helps lift your team up and can be one of the key ingredients to moving them out of a slump. The second thing you can do as a sales leader, if your team is in a sales slump, is focus on what you can control. You know, when I led sales teams in the past, I would often actually say to them, when you'd get into meetings and they'd be complaining, and this is bad, and that's bad, and this isn't working, and that isn't working, I'd say, well, folks, I actually think I said folks, hey folks, let's focus on what we can control. And then I'd call people out. Bob, what's something based on everything we've discussed today that you can actually still take control of and do? Sally, what about you, right? Build the conversation around what you can control. Because oftentimes people, when they get into a slump, especially sales professionals, they get down about everything, right? If they're not making the sales targets they want, then suddenly everything's going bad. And that's kind of part of the psychology and the mindset of salespeople, right? It's something you have to work to overcome. But as a sales leader, you can help when you just remind people, let's focus on what we can control. We can control how we invest our time. We can control where we invest our time, right? There are things that are within our control. That's where you need to help your team focus. As a sales leader, if your team is in a slump, increase your one-to-one time with team members. You've already got a team meeting set up, presumably. You should have. You should actually have a daily sales huddle, which you can read all about in my book, The Unstoppable Sales Team. But that said, as a leader, you also want to make sure that you're increasing the time with people one-to-one when things are down, when your team is in a slump. Why? Because sometimes you need to give people that avenue to vent, to share their frustrations. And just by letting them share that, without really responding other than acknowledging you hear them, that helps people get past and get through those situations. So increase your one-to-one time with your team when they're in a sales slump. It's going to help pull out the negativity and offer you opportunities to offer new ideas and improve the situation. This last tip, I think, is probably one of the most important. If your team is in a sales slump and what's happening is something that is real, it's not just a fluke issue where suddenly you couldn't close any deals and nobody knows why. Maybe the economy has slowed down. Maybe the product that you're selling, you can't get supply. Whatever the situation is, you need to go back and change the measures, specifically the performance measures of your sales team. I mean, if we had planned out for me to sell $1 million this year, and halfway through the year I'm at 500,000, but the economy tanks, we're in the worst recession ever, and what I'm selling is, let's think of something that we would sell that people wouldn't want in a downturn. Let's say I'm selling rides at Disney World. Actually, maybe people want to go, I don't know. Anyways, I'm selling something that's not necessarily a high priority during an economic downtime. Let's say that. So if that's the case, we've got to go back and reset my measures, right? I'm probably not going to hit $1 million.